So where does this leave us? Well, we've defined aerobic capacity, and we've tried to clear up the terminology that really what we're after in terms of aerobic capacity is we want to identify maximal lactate steady state. But we can't really do that because it's very time consuming and it involves a lot of equipment and so on. So we need surrogate measures, surrogate approaches. We've looked at visual inspection. Okay, it works if the curve is obvious, but it's not very scientific. So we've then looked at using fixed concentrations. They don't seem to really work because they don't identify change, and it implies everybody's the same. We've looked at using things like IAT. It conforms to the rationale, but there are issues with the method. The same with the lactate minimum. And yet this is a fundamental parameter we need to identify. Fundamental. So what do you do? Do you go with visual inspection? Or do you go with something like IAT, accepting there are issues with the parameter? The simple truth is, you have to stick with a method that is repeatable within your laboratory. Conventionally, most groups will do something like visual inspection or look for the change in the lactate concentration. Very few individuals would ever use lactate minimum. It's so demanding, you wouldn't use it in an athletic population group. IAT, it works, but there are issues in terms of that recovery. In the end, you have to plump for the method that you think is repeatable. And in many ways, the repeatability comes down to what you do with that treadmill or cycling protocol. It comes down to, well, how well you've calibrated your kit. It comes down to the way in which the protocol runs in terms of the duration of the stages and so on. So the net result is that we've got a fundamental parameter we want to assess, but we are not absolutely certain about how we go about identifying it.